helpful. Okay, so something that opens easy, right? I have a whole bunch of them. People look at my knives, they go, wow, what a great collection. I go, none of them are collectorized. They're not Star Wars, they're not Lord of the Rings. Every single one is for an application I use. Black. Why black? So it doesn't reflect. Daylight, flashlight, whatever, very non-reflective. Tonto point, not a clip point. If you know your knives, there's different points, clip point, whatever. And I'm going to share with you why the Tonto point, just like the Aikido angles of how you flow, that's going to be very important. Half serrated, half non-serrated. Why? Because I like to go through. It's just like when you're cutting something, and if you're moving a certain way when it comes out, it's not going to be easily stitched. If you have a surgical knife and you go like that to somebody, they can go to the hospital and get stitched up. But if you're coming in and you're coming out, and you have this, or you're cutting down on that strike, and you've got the serrated, and you're coming on an angle and you change, that's a bleed out, right? So you're going to cause a lot more damage. Zuba, the word Zuba. You know what a Zuba? A sword that has that thing. It protects your hand. And why don't kitchen knives, for anybody cutting a turkey on Thanksgiving with all the buttery hands, have a Zuba? You see more ER accidents. They're cutting, and what happens? Your hand slipped off, and your hand goes forward, and you cut these tendons. This one doesn't have a great one, but I've been using it a long time. A Zuba is you make your thumb a Zuba. My thumb here. So when I'm coming into something, that thumb. Backwards here, this hand acts as the Zuba right here. But you'll see a lot, that's a Zuba. So anything you have where your hand is on the blade, that's protected. So it's black, it's here. Understand? So that'll be very helpful. I prefer a straight edge, so full tang, so it's not a folder. This is called a folder. And by the way, you have a lot of things, and when you really practice and you get good enough, you can strike and as you're deploying. So I'm going to show you two things real quick. I'm going to show you a method. I didn't invent it, but I learned it and I've modified it. And then we all know it works for me. I think you said, hey, this works for me, right? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, come on up. That's great, thank you. I wasn't even ready, but I'll be ready now. Yeah. So follow this too. So I'm going to show you two things, then we're going to get into my favorite stuff. We're going to talk about, after this, jumping ahead, and I want to go so I can get a lot in, Kazushi. I did it last year, I did it the year before, Somebody says, oh, it's repetitive. It's repetitive, and it has saved my life. And it has made my self-defense, reality-based self-defense, so much easier for me and so much practical. I take your base, I take your Kazushi, and I've just learned from some of the best people in the whole world. And I saw my great friend back there, and he went, Kazushi, and I went, I love it. Breaking the Kazushi properly is a game changer. When you're compressing somebody's Kazushi down, I'm not talking about, Aikido. I'm not throwing somebody away. He can tell you, when I'm throwing you away and I'm fighting you, I'm giving you round two. And I got news for you and me. You're a tough guy, I'm a tough guy. I might win on round one, and then I throw him, or I do a hip throw, or an outside major sweep, or whatever. Remember when you're throwing to the ground, and I let you out, and you get up? I may not be as effective in round two. I got to tell you guys, I'm still here at 61. I have all my original teeth. There are a bunch of them are cracked, but they're still here. I must be doing something right. And I forgot to mention, my first ever martial art class was with my dad, and it was in 1970, and it was at Tracy's Karate Kempo in Trevose in Feasterville, Pennsylvania. But then George went on and stayed with Kempo. I mean, if you can research the whole story if you guys knows what happened in it. So I'm going to show you guys just a technique that I use for the blade. I have had to deploy this. I have done security at 2 different casinos in the last almost 2 years. 2 different casinos. I got recruited to the second casino. There's a problem. I run the largest poker room in the country.